Nitty Gritty 9.4 with High Priest Kwatamani, sacred ancestral soothsayer, soul seer, spiritual healer and revealer, founding father and spiritual chief elder of the Kwatamani First Genesis tribe, the oldest, longest sustained, 100% raw and living, plant-consuming, family community order known, over 50 years and still going strong.
So many have gotten so caught up in the physical manifestation of who he and she be that they have forgotten the essence of life and supreme love, the soul. So the outcome is that if we go off track from the sacred ancestral soulful essence of who we be, we become soulless. When we say a soulless being, we're talking about a self-centered, individualistic, oriented being. Focus on the I, me, my, mine syndrome. No connection with the sacred ancestral communal essence of humanity. Disregarding anything that do not enhance its personal agenda, regardless of what that is. And the personal agenda can be so minute as a few dollars more, so minute as a material thing, so minute as any kind of stuff that you can think about that will satisfy the momentary enthusiasm of an ego-driven self. This is the nature of soullessness that has manifested upon our glorious earth.
Who are the soulless ones?
Children of the sun. Is thou a spiritual war? And so the war goes on, and as time done gone, we still the city corruption, massive destruction. Them rape and strip the nation through deforestation. Them corrupt the people who are painful evil. Them control the minds, make we people them blind. And then them resign or retire and watch the fire as it burn up all the trees.
A consciousness that would allow one to pollute the air, water, and soil of one's living environment is not a whole life consciousness. And if the general population of man, he and she, is quick to point the finger at political leaders or corporate leaders or any other leaders, one must realize that these leaders are a mere reflection of the followers who support, maintain, and willingly consume from the death-consuming culture. The insanity of dumping toxic waste in the water that one has to drink, and emitting toxic fumes and smoke in the air that one has to breathe, and spreading massive amounts of toxic chemicals and inorganic pesticides, insecticides, and fertilizers into the soil from which one has to plant and eat reflects a consciousness that is headed for self-destruction. End of quote. Page 416, fulfilling the sacred ancestral prophecy of the 999 by High Priest Kwatamani, 2008.
So many who are soulless beings have no thought about anything as it relates to future shock. What we are going through upon this planet at this particular point in time does not even faze so many. They're so busy. They're so busy getting about their moment-to-moment pleasure that they could care less about the future generations, about the future of their own presence in a life experience. They just concerned about getting what they want, any way they want, how they can get it for that moment, and the hell away with anything else that does not please or appease that ego-driven self.
A nightmarish dream, or was it seen as a financial scheme where the tech company companies and Wall Street pull the double team. Profit by any means deemed necessary. Lives seen as secondary. Or was it just another tribal clan eugenics plan being ran against the solar man? Was it the coming of a new world order, controlling populations from border to border? Sort of like pulling a coup, overthrowing all that one has been shown and known to be true about the Babylon system and what it is willing to do to dominate, control, and rule over you.
Yet, the idea of refocusing on the soulful essence of who we be has obviously been ignored by those who brought forward that blood-spilling, hunting and herding, warring culture that still up until this day perpetuates war as a way of life. We have to begin to realize what we're dealing with. And only then can we realize what we need to be dealing with as our priority. You see, we have not even comprehended how soul-to-soul movement occurs. And when we think of soul, we got to comprehend soul. And that existence of that solar energy within the solar sphere should make it very clear to us that we are birthed upon this earth as soul to soul infused beings, infused to recycle within the supreme circle of life. However, once there had become a situation where the war was soul versus self, and self became more important than anything else, self-satisfaction, self-deification, the monotheistic nature of I, me, my mind, those vibrations that certain particular beings brought forward to satisfy their personal agenda to dominate, control, and rule over others, instead of comprehending the fact that as a soul within a soul-to-soul relationship, the most important thing that we can have is a collective, communal, conscious nature, which is a soul-to-soul relationship of who we be within the essence of life and supreme love.
Global warming, transforming the body of she into our sacred garden culture reality. The seed bearing fruit, leaves, stem, and root, herbs for your medicine, green plant, solar fuel, the jewel of our sacred garden culture, wealth, well-being, wholesome health.
Sometimes I get very intense and trying my best to make certain things clear as the ancestors encode them into the I and I. The mouth moves so fast that sometimes the brain cannot even catch up with what is actually being expressed. Yet, knowing full well that we need divine clarity more than anything else at this particular point in time. That is, we are walking the earth with those who have an oath of declaration to a soulless state of existence. So, to penetrate a soulless state of being through the energies of whole soul-to-soul relationships is an impossible matter. So how do we handle this challenge? Because if we are walking this planet massively infused with soulless beings, how do we handle the nature of communications that express the love supreme of this supreme circle of life that we manifest in to those beings?
Very mysterious, and unless you delirious, you gotta know this is serious. Some say it's a devilish plot, Illuminati conspiracy that got caught, rocking the fate of those who have not, leading back to the auction block, stock market in the pocket, profit margin done skyrocket, ain't nobody there to stop it.
Understand what you must bring, earth, solar consciousness, to this new and new.
Look, listen, learn to
able to cross the doorways into the essence of life will remain a soulless being for the rest of its eternal existence. And that eternal existence is simply a matter of death, as it has been defined. Broken down matter, deteriorating and degenerating into oblivious nothingness.
Our sacred garden culture remedy is the natural key for them that be about the business of living, holistically giving credit where credit is due. Mother Earth give us a clue. She's the body that birthed man, he and she, from the soil of her femininity. And the sun, her radiant masculine protection, provides solar detection for toxic infection. Green Earth, solar conscious resurrection.
There are those who say, wait a minute. If I can't see it, I don't believe it. And when you make it very clear to that being that, oh, do you see the air that you breathe? Well, it's like you're just speaking like a soulless being, disconnected from the essence of life and supreme love, and you don't even have enough common sense to realize where you are, where you're going, where you're at, and what you're headed for on this dead-end street of soullessness. How do we recover? Each and every being do have that precious ounce of soul that brings them forward through the womb of that mother, regardless of where she was. Incarnation, reincarnation. There are lots of matters that have the ability to keep this supreme circle of life going and flowing. And they're active right now as we speak. There are those who come through the channel of birth, who come as a carrier. There are those who come as a vessel. A vessel means that there was something in your DNA background that was strong enough to allow you to be a vessel of a soul that's waiting, willing, and able to continue this supreme circle of life movement. It's called reincarnation. Now, once we begin to comprehend some of the ancient teachings that came long before this dead, devitalized, and depleted nature of energy manifested to its fullness, life will become less complicated, more of a appreciation for who we be becomes a reality. We have to comprehend certain things at this particular point in time. You see, when I say just piecemealing, dealing with the urgent need for healing, feeling the feeling of humanity, dealing with the impending 9/11, prophecy 9/18/2027, dealing with what is in store as we prepare to enter the door to AD 2024, the sleeper, where the gatekeeper is the grim weeper. We got to comprehend that we're talking about entry into the door of a cycle of time that has already been well spoken of. Mother Earth is beginning to speak a language that each and every one within the embodiment will either come to comprehend or suffer the consequences thereof. The doorway is not just simply one door into the sleeper, gatekeeper. We're talking about a doorway into the essence of life. And which one will you choose? We're talking about the doorway to the grim weeper, which is a self-centered, individualistic state of self-destruction, or we're talking about the doorway to the supreme circle of life, the essence of who we be as soul-to-soul energy. Whether one believe or do not believe, is in the mindset of that being. The reality is holistic living truth is not only going to be revealed, it has continued to be revealed and is revealing as we speak right now. We have to tune into the nature of whole life energy, or we tune into the nature of self-destructive energy. And it's just that simple. We know full well when we take the time to till the soil and plant the seeds of life and regenerate the tree of life, nature, we know that those trees will produce the oxygen and the fuel and the food that we need. The leaves will break down and create the life matter that will actually cause more seeds to germinate and grow into more trees. And we know that off of that is the fuel which we, humanity, and all living things thereof feed one way or the other. We know that by our nature we are herbivores, tree of life beings. We know that there have been things that has happened that has caused a loss in one's holistic living soul-to-soul consciousness. And that as a result of being out of sync and out of focus with that whole soul relationship, the solar relationship of the precious gifts of earth, wind, rain, and sun, we know that it caused a mental distraction, a lot of suffering, a lot of painful experiences. And those things got encoded in the DNA. And that became a norm in the minds of those who continue to suffer those experiences. And it is now the gathering time. It is the time that has been well revealed. It's going to take a lot of work. We're going to have to get a lot of focus. Most importantly, it is the gathering time. And what do I mean by that? That means that it is a time for a sacred few of the 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 few to gather into the wholeness, the black wholeness of life as it first began, and to go forward and multiply green earth solar conscious thought and reasonings in our every action. This is a precious time. The masculine energy and the feminine energy must come together within the divine unit oneness, and we must focus all of our whole soul life energy on the forward multiplication of the generation next. There cannot be any selfishness. We must comprehend that we have a mission, a sacred and blessed mission that can be so pleasurable and enjoyable, yet we have no time to waste. We must focus on the supreme masculine and feminine relationships. That means from where we are, we must begin a massive program of detoxing and purging to heal. First and foremost, we must be able to identify each other and gather within sacred, blessed spaces where the fruits of the trees of life can grow and emerge. We must focus in this manner or lose it all. And since we are the essence of life, whole soul to soul energy, failure is not an option. If we're going to do something over and over and over and over again, we have to focus on that produces whole life energy, which means it continues to forward the precious essence of soul. And soul is a continuing and ongoing expression of who we be. Therefore, instead of perpetuating a downward spiral, we are accelerating, resurrecting an upward, continuous, and ongoing spiral of the supreme circle of life. So it is so glorious as we enter the door to 2024, because we're entering the door of the supreme circle of life instead of the door of toxic disorder in the consciousness of who we be as soul to soul energy. Cease to follow all those toxic patterns of division, separation, that has been perpetuated to divide, conquer, and rule over our existence. We must recognize that the nature of opposition is a divisive nature. If we, the supreme reflection of divine socioeconomic family community order, if we, the mitochondria offsprings of that sacred mother, if we are coming to recognize who we be as soul-to-soul beings, we must then comprehend that recognition is not enough. We must gather. We must make all the arrangements necessary and possible through divine socioeconomic family community order. We must create. We must appreciate solar energy. We must put all of our mechanisms toward preparing a clean and wholesome environment. Clean and wholesome, free of toxic chemicals and sprays and all the other kinds of things that make the mind go astray into oblivious nothingness. In order for us to get past this particular cycle that we're within in divine order, we must break away from those vice grips that shackle and chain the feet, hand, and brain into self-destruction. And we must comprehend that within soul energy, the whole soul essence, it is a love supreme that is the voice of divine wisdom. And your encounters on your sojourn actually connect you with those things that will allow you to raise up your higher peace consciousness. But the program is so massive, it continues to mesmerize one into a state of toxic disorder. The lower and lesser nature of energy that keep one opposed to his and her own whole soul existence. We must begin to comprehend this quick, fast, and in a hurry and change our pathway. We must open our eyes to holistic living truth. We must comprehend that life is what feeds life, and we must stay focused on whole soul energy. Now that means that we now have to focus on a whole different kind of relationship with Mother Earth, Wind, Rain, and Sun. We got to be with it. This means that we have to start to have a matured relationship with the sacred garden culture from which we come as first Genesis offsprings. We must then realize that our focus must be internal, because good things start at home, deep within. And things that have not made sense to you will make sense, because fueling the essence of who you be with whole life energy will actually feed the brain, the body, and the soulful essence. Then the detoxing and purging and healing begins. This is where we're at. It is the divine union of masculine and feminine energy that creates the wholeness of soulness that gives us the ability to go forward and multiply the whole soul essence into every offspring and vibration of the generation next. And if we're going to multiply the whole soul essence, we must recognize that we must consume from the fruits of the tree of life as green earth solar conscious beings. The nature of our sacred ancestors, those first Genesis offsprings, that mitochondrial mother, that precious father, birthed from the womb of mother, ejaculating his life into the vagina of woman, of mother, that it is two parts to one wholeness, and that wholeness of soulness is our beginning. I want each and every one of you to take a little time and think about what has been said. Take time, and if you are clear, please make note to us. And if you are not clear, make note to us. Let us see how the sacred few of us can come into a holistic living oneness. Let us comprehend that it is that generation next that is so precious at this particular point in time, that we must resurrect the generation next. We must bring those offsprings together to go forward, to multiply divine socioeconomic family community order. We must give guidance and protection, and sometimes we must participate in that forward movement. All of us do have the ability to comprehend and communicate the holistic living truth to those offspring and vibrations, to give them divine guidance, protection, nurturing, affection, that rotation of whole life energy, that vital part of this sacred time of a new Banu cycle, the cycle that forwards divine socioeconomic family community order, the cycle that forwards green earth solar consciousness, the cycle that forwards the divine union of masculine and feminine energy within the wholeness of soulness. Give it some thought. Become more and more and more alive.
Passing on this baton into perpetuity through divine social economic family community.